What's up, guys? Literally, night one of SummerSlam was literally the best. It was so pumped up, and it was really hype. It was really good. I really thought we were going to see Jey Uso or Sami Zayn turn heel, but nope, it didn't happen. And literally, we saw Sami almost turn to the dark side with that pipe, but he didn't. But we saw Roman and Jey versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and Jey and Roman came out on top. They won. And literally, Jey Uso speared Bronson Reed, knocked Braun Breaker out of the ring, and then did the Uso splash, and then pinned him 1, 2, 3. And we saw Jey Uso and Roman literally win that match to kick off SummerSlam Night 1. That was honestly really good. Then we saw Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez for the women's tag team championship, and it was really good. And we saw how Raquel and Roxanne were a really great team. The chemistry they have since Liv Morgan literally was out with injury and still is, and because of that we saw how their chemistry and how they work together. And we saw how Charlotte and Alexa had a little miscommunication a little bit. Sorry for the little stutter. But we saw how Charlotte and Alexa had that, and then they overcame it, and then Alexa accidentally punched Charlotte, and literally Charlotte saved Alexa, and how Alexa saved Charlotte multiple times, how Raquel saved Roxanne, how Roxanne saved Raquel multiple times. And then we saw Charlotte Flair save Alexa, and Alexa pin after doing the Sister Abigail to Roxanne Perez, and they win the new tag team championship. And we saw Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez lose their titles to Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and we saw them hug it out. That was awesome to see. And then we see Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. And we saw how Tiffany was the champion, had champion's advantage a little bit, and also how we saw how all the hype was around Jade Cargill and how Jade Cargill was predicted to win. But literally, we saw this. Honestly, I had a weird feeling that Jade Cargill was going to win, but also I had a feeling Tiffany Stratton was going to win. I don't see them having Tiffany lose the title that fast. It was her first SummerSlam. Let her have the win, and they did. Tiffany Stratton wins by pinning Jade Cargill 1, 2, 3. Then we saw Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul versus Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. That was an awesome match where we saw Jelly Roll be an inspiration to kids all around the world, and just to be inspiration to anyone, that you can lose the weight and you can get into better shape and be healthy and do anything you put your mind to. And we saw Randy Orton and Jelly Roll lose to Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, but it was still a good match, and it was still a good match where we saw Logan Paul do a frog splash to Jelly Roll through the table, and then Jelly Roll was like, I'm not leaving this match, and I'm not leaving my tag partner to get beaten, so I'm going to stand up to them and prove that I can still fight and how tough he is still. And literally we saw Drew McIntyre get pinned almost by Jelly Roll, and we saw Logan Paul almost get pinned by Jelly Roll, and Jelly Roll was really tough. He literally did a choke slam and another choke slam to them, and that was awesome to see. And then we saw Drew and Logan pin Jelly Roll to win the match against Jelly Roll and Randy Orton. Then we saw Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. We almost saw Sami turn to the dark side, where the Karrion Kross's girlfriend, I can't remember her name, but we saw how Sami almost decided to use the pipe against Karrion Kross, but he decided, nope, he threw it away like, I'm not using that. I'm the good guy. I'm not using it. And then he did the Huluma kick and the frog splash. And literally, he did this. And the Blue Thunderball, he did all that, and he beat Karrion Kross. And he said, "We're done." And Karrion's like, "Fine, we're done." And then we saw, for the main event, CM Punk versus Gunther. That was a really good main event, where we saw CM Punk and Gunther going at it. It was really a good battle. And then when it looked like Gunther was going to win, literally Gunther was literally taking his early victory lap. And because of that, honestly, I felt like he was getting too cocky and everything, and I understand he's allowed to. But literally, that was not good that he did that. Then CM Punk took advantage, busted Gunther open by putting his face through the table. And then he did 2 go-to-sleeps, and then he pinned Gunther to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Finally, CM Punk was on top. And in 11 years, he's finally on top of the mountain. But then, as soon as he rose the title, Seth Rollins' music hit, and he's like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." And literally, that blew my mind, because I really thought Seth Rollins was injured. I thought he was going to be out for a while, but also there was in my mind that he was going to cash in. And also there was part of me that was like, is this a plan for Seth Rollins? And literally, Seth Rollins even said, "I'm going to do everything in my power to keep him from being on top." And then literally, Seth Rollins' music hit. He came out, threw the crutches away, took the knee brace off, took his shirt off, and then, boom, ran to the ring. And he took out CM Punk with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And he wins and pins him with a stomp. And then, literally, he beats CM Punk. And now Seth Rollins is your new World Heavyweight Champion after 5 minutes of CM Punk winning. And literally, it's like, night 1 was really good. I can't wait for night 2 with John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. Night 2 is going to be awesome. Literally, night 1 was really good. Drop down in the comment section of what you guys think. And let's go. SummerSlam is off to a great start.